like that buzz. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. It is February the 10th, Friday. There's someone who didn't make it to this day, someone who did not make it to Friday, but we've made it. If I'm able to see you and you're able to see me, I can say that we made it to a day, to this day. My hat looks crazy. I can say that we've made it to this day for whatever reason, whatever the purpose was, whatever the journey that we went through to make it to the day that we're in right now. Um, it's just here, and we have to assume that responsibility that we're alive for a reason, we're alive for a purpose, and we're alive uh, to create and to execute and to do the things that we know that we have a responsibility to do and what we're responsible for. So whatever reason that you're alive, just walk in it. Just reach out. Don't just live and don't just exist, because the person who lives on the island still, they just exist. But if no one knows that they exist, then how do they know that they're living? You know that you're living. And just execute and just be the best you, not the version of you, but be the best you that you are, not the best you that you can be, because you're not that person yet. Be the person that you are and get better at that. So today is Friday. Again, I say good morning to you. I want your Friday to be the best Friday that it can be. But what are you going to do? All right, so I'm not going to stay on this long because I have so much to do today. Can you hear me, first of all? Tell me that you can hear me, because I don't want to be talking and communicating and then get a message later on to say I didn't hear you the whole time. That serves no purpose. So if you can hear me, let me know, and then we can go from there. I'm sure you probably won't, whoever that person is. Um, but yeah, just good morning. I'll leave it at that. Good morning. All right. So like always on Fridays, we go back and we look at the audience, the demographics, and the people that have been, rocking with us from the podcast distribution space, in our geographic location, our international waters, our platforms that we're being listened on, as well as the gender, like who's been listening the most this week. And we'll always give our thanks and our gratitude and appreciation to those as well. So without further ado, I don't like how it is focused. Let me switch that. Watch this. There it go. Almost my hand. Pow. Like that. All right, so here we go. I probably should have changed the settings back. But anyway, all right, so in our international waters, again, thank you for everybody. Of course, that's in the US. We got India, we say thank you. Nigeria, thank you. Canada, Germany, Italy, South Africa, Puerto Rico, Kenya, United Kingdom, thank you. South Korea, Indonesia, Singapore, France, Netherlands, Pakistan, Australia, Russia, United Arab Emirates. I had to look that up today so I can actually say it. United Arab Emirates, Uganda, thank you. Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Nepal, Burundi, that's a new one. Thank you for listening, whoever is in Burundi. Morocco, thank you. Mexico, New Zealand, Ireland, Turkey, Slovenia, Namibia, Dominican Republic, Austria, U.S. Virgin Islands, thank you. Thailand, thank you. Ethiopia, thank you. Malaysia, Belgium, Philippines, Latvia, thank you. Denmark, thank you. Belize, thank you. Uzbekistan, thank you. The country of Georgia, that's a new one, thank you. So now let's go into the platforms. As you see, Apple Podcasts is killing it like always. 66% of our digital listeners is listening to it on Apple Podcasts. Web browsers, that mean they're finding it online and they're listening to it online on the web browser. Google Podcasts, thank you. Audible, we appreciate you. A podcast app, whatever the app is, cool, whatever. Spotify, being listened to on Spotify, so we say thank you as well. So let's go with the genders. So let's see who held it down this week. All right. The brothers, I appreciate you this week. You are 3.3% listeners were men this week. So my gentlemen, I say thank you. Male 16%. Appreciate you as well. The age group of listeners this week at 83% is our 28 to 34 in our age group. And we have, this is a young week, 23 to 27 and 28 to 34 listeners. We say thank you. I say thank you, and I appreciate you. So what does this mean for you? If you're looking to sponsor and get involved and say, you know what, I want to, tap into some of those geographic locations and the youth and stuff like that, and I'm interested, interested in sponsoring Consistency is Currency podcast. So you're able to do that and just tap into that market base as well. So let me go ahead and switch the views and pull up the podcast part. Bam. There we go. All right. So evolution. Let me put the caption back up. Evolution. So the question for today is, do you have a fear of evolving? Do you have a fear of evolving? If so, why? And what is it? And if you don't, why? If you do, why? Whatever it is for you, it's whatever your situation is for you. So today, of course, like always, you're going to get definition of words and you're going to get the etymology. Today, you're going to get the etymology because I wanted to look up the origin, like where did the word evolve come from? I mean, you hear a lot of people say it, even when you look up, from a biology perspective and things like that. You're able to read like different people, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. The first definition of evolve, it says develop gradually, especially from a simple to more complex form. Develop gradually from a simple, develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form. And with this, even though the inversion is red over white, I want to kind of invert the definition as well. Into something that is much more relevant to us and to who we are right now, because it says to develop gradually from a simple to a complex to a more complex form. I think the way life takes us and the things that we deal with in life, especially when it comes to evolve, I think the inversion of complex to simple would probably fit us better. So develop gradually from a complex to a more simple form. I think we grow that way, as opposed to from a simple form to a more complex form. Because the things that we've gone through in our lives, or the things that we deal with, whether it's daily or the things that we have dealt with, a lot of times it comes from a complex form. Because our natural complexities in life, the things that we learn from our experiences, it goes from a complex to a more simplest form because it is a gradual development. Because it's not something that we have to stay there in that rut, or we have to stay there in that situation. But when we go from a complex form to a much more simpler form, we transition from complex to simple when we actually evolve and we know what change is and the why of why change is needed. And the next definition that I want you to pay attention to in the word evolve, it says develop over successive generations as a result of a natural selection. And I think it's the same thing for, I'm not gonna say I think, I know it's the same thing with this, because when you're, the inversion is white over red. And White Over Red says develop over successive results, because if you're still in a situation and the results is not rendering you or is not working within your favor, then there has to be a development. Like you're either going to stay there or you're going to change there. I'm gonna say that again. You're either going to stay there or you're going to change there. Like change there means changing your environment. Change there is changing how you see it. Change there is changing how you respond to it. Change there is acknowledging what there is, who there is, the why there is, and beginning to develop new strategies. Because when it says develop over successive results, that means the things that was right there, something has to change from it. It was successive. That means it has been going on for quite some time. So there has to be a evolution with it. There has to be a transformation with it from and in that moment. And the next definition that I want you to pay attention to before we get into the etymology of it, which I think was kind of dope, just to see where they said and what they said the origin of evolution came from. And this definition says to change or develop slowly, often into a better, more complex or more advanced state. And the inversion on this is red over white, but again, we're going to invert the inversion, because if it says to change or develop slowly, often into a better or more advanced state. Now I fixed that. We can keep that as is, because to change or develop slowly, often into a better or more advanced state, that means when you look at where you are and you acknowledge where you are, there is a progression that is going to develop when you see like what you've done and you know what you want to do, and you're slowly going into your purpose, or you're slowly deriving into what you know that you were designed, or you know that you were destined to do, or you feel that this is something that I need to do, because now you're going into an advanced state of mind. Because it says the definition, the inversion of the definition, to change or develop slowly, often into a better or more advanced state. The advanced state is the state of mind. Not just to say it, but actually to do it, because to advance the state of mind is to advance how you think, to advance how you speak, to advance what you say, to advance how you respond. Because if you're still responding the same way as you responded when you were 18, or you're still responding the same way as you responded when you were 21 and 25 and you're older now, like, you don't have to go off on somebody just to get your point across. You don't have to yell at something or someone just to make sure that they hear you. Because there should have been a change. It should have been a slow change to make what and who you are better into advanced state of thinking. And I think when we develop more thought leaders, or when we even develop our process of thought, or develop our state of mind, or develop our mind state, I think we'll begin to understand that change is inevitable. Because you don't always have to be that person that sometimes people feel like, oh, that's just who they want me to, that's who they want me to be. Like, no, that's not. It doesn't have to be. You can be the advanced you can advance, you can change, you can move forward, you can slowly progress, you can get better, you can change, you can develop. And it's not based on what someone feels you should be. It should be based on the experiences that you've gained, or it should be based on the who that you are, because the who that you are is who you're developing into. Life is about development. Life is about discovery. Life is about progression. Life is about advancement. Because if not, you'll still be making whatever you made when you had your first job. I mean, you would still be making, you'll be making the same pay as you made the first time you started working at that entry level or at that level. But I'm sure as you advanced in life, your intake of finances have increased, your bills increase. So why should you stay in that same situation of involving and have a fear or looking at what someone might say about you? There is a revolution that comes with it, an evolution, I should say, that comes with it. So now let's look at the etymology of evolve. The etymology of evolve is, it comes from the Latin word evolere. I had to look that up too. It comes from the Latin word evolere, which says to unroll, roll out, roll forth, and unfold. So when I see that unroll and roll out, roll forth and unfold, that tells me that a lot of times we don't evolve because we're in our own way. Again, I'm just looking at the origin. We do not evolve because we are in our own way. We won't unroll ourselves. We want to stay so tight and so restricted and constricted at the same time. But when we begin to unroll, we begin to learn newer things about ourselves. We begin to learn new developments about ourselves. We begin to learn that there is a new path and a new way that it can be done. And walking away from our fears is really walking towards our faith, and walking away from our fears is really walking into our purpose, because we had to unroll in order to evolve. Like, are you willing to roll out in order for you to evolve into the direction that you are supposed to be in? Or are you willing to roll forth because you have been holding yourself back for far too long? Because until you roll forth, you will stay where you are. There will be no change. There will be no new development. There will always be this constant and consistent complex, or the complexities that you've been in for a very long time, because you haven't changed the process. You might just need to unroll or unwind, whatever it is, and however you see it, and roll out of your own way. You already have enough stuff in your way. So why do you need to be in your way too? Roll out of your very own way, and don't be concerned about who else is in your way, because as long as you're not in your way, then you shouldn't be concerned about if somebody else is. They may just have impeded your travel for the moment. There was a new path. There was a new direction. There is a evolution that is taking place. So now let's begin to go into the process of the deep dive in today's podcast about evolve. Because the one thing that we have to do, we have to have understanding for the nature of our evolution, because it's going to happen. Right? So we have to have a understanding for the nature of our evolution, because it's going to help us resolve some personal and professional, spiritual and psychological solutions that impact our very own lives. Because if not, we're going to always stay in those same complex situations. Because your evolution is not the pointing of the finger. It's not you pointing the finger at somebody else, because it is your evolution. Kind of like what we spoke about yesterday, when it came to push. It's not a people cause. It's not something that we're saying people are doing. but what are you doing? Because evolution is a natural response. Because when we understand that evolution and its role in our personal enterprise, like what we do, like what totally encompasses the who that we are, we will begin to understand that it is a vital implication because it is a part of you. Because your evolution is your story. Like, think about it. If you've come from a broken home, or if you've come from homelessness and you've come from a battered situation, it is the evolution of your story. Like, how do you get to where you are? Like, you don't know where I came from. You don't know the scars that I've bared. You don't know the hurt that I've had. But I had to evolve instead of stay in that situation that I'm in. I had to come out of it. So your evolution is your story. Because like evolution is like it can be your why too. Like, think about it. I've evolved out of my why. That's like saying my passion came from my pain to fix things because I don't want to feel this way anymore. So my evolution could have came from my why, because even a seed has to evolve in order for it to become the harvest. Because before we have bread, we have to have wheat. And before we have wheat, we have to plant the seeds. So in order for you to receive something of substance, you have to plant the seed, and the seed has a responsibility of evolving in order for it to grow into wheat. And then you have to process that wheat in order for it to be processed to become something that you feel that you like, which is bread. So there has to be an evolution, because oftentimes we run away from change because for whatever reason, but we have to understand that change is the inevitable. Over times, we change our overall way of life. We change what we eat. We change how we grow. We change where we live. But sometimes that we fear the word evolve because it can sound like a spooky word to some, like evolve. Like, I don't know about all that. Like, it's actually a good thing, right? Because we look at evolve and we feel that we're going to lose something. Well, maybe you need to lose something to gain something greater in return. Because to evolve is like, it's a good thing that happened in your life, because everything changes. Earth is always in a continuous state of evolving. It evolves, it changes, it always refines itself. Ask yourself this. Like, I think a lot of times some people have fault other people for changing. Like, oh, you changed. Like, was I supposed to stay like that? Was I supposed to be the same person? Was I supposed to be still running around drinking and stuff? Like, because you still do that doesn't necessarily mean that I should still do it with you. I'm not saying me personally. I mean, I don't drink. But that may be someone else's life. So should we really fault someone for improving, adapting, enhancing because they wanted to change for the better? No. That might be your life. That may be someone else in your family, and someone else that have been stifling your growth, or someone else that have sabotaged your business because, yes, they say they love you, but they sabotage your business every chance that they get. So now you have a fear of evolving because you feel like no one else is accepting your evolution. Don't get all wrapped up in what people might say or get stuck because someone is not embracing your trait or they don't find the appreciation in what you do and how you have evolved. It's your evolution, it's your development, it's your course, it's your wisdom. It's not your victim. Victim is a response to the situation. If you stay in that situation, now you're a victim. But in order for you to become victorious, in order for you to become or to develop victory, you have to change the way that you see it, because as you begin to change the way that you see it, your response change. And when your response change, the evolution takes place. The evolution of the mind, the evolution of how you see it, the evolution of how you feel about it. You even cry different because you're crying not because of the pain, but you're crying because you have changed. You're crying because you have seen yourself come from a place of despair. You've seen yourself come from a place of complexities in your life, and you felt like everything was always against you. But in order for you to evolve, you have to leave it where it was. Because in order for you to get to where you're going, there is something that has to be left. And you're going to have to be okay with that. You're going to have to be okay with removing and extracting something out or away from you in order for you to assume or to receive what it is that you are supposed to receive. And that is an evolution. And you're going to have to be okay with that evolution. Because there might be places you don't have to go anymore. Songs you don't have to sing no more, songs that you don't have to listen to no more, videos that you don't want to look at anymore, movies that you don't even want to look at anymore. You might have a different taste in dressing now, so you want to go out and get a whole new wardrobe. You also probably don't want to go to this type of restaurant anymore or go to this type of store anymore. It always has a evolution, but where are you in that evolution? Hopefully you're in front of it and not behind it, because it's yours. It's yours. It's not somebody else's on how they view it, but how do you view it? I think far too often we concern ourselves with other people's concerns that we no longer are concerned with us. Like we're trying to please somebody else because we want to make it seem like you heard them, but like, have you heard you? That's just the question. Good morning, Miss Weston. How are you? Family is the main problem with this. I'll say no. I say the main problem is who you give power to. That's the problem. I think a lot of times we give power to the wrong people, or we give power to a situation, a circumstance that does not have to have that power. It's like giving life to something that was dead, or peeling a scab, taking a Band-Aid off, and the scab rips from the Band-Aid. Now it has to go through the same healing process all over again, because the scab was developed in order to have a evolution in the skin. Because when the dermis goes through its own natural healing process, that is the evolution of the skin repairing itself. So if there are family and there are friends that you don't have to give that power to, then extract yourself from that power surge that you're giving them and plug into something different. It's not you like not loving them anymore. Love yourself even more and learn how to love them differently. That's even an evolution. I love you, but I learned how to love you. I thank you and I appreciate you for seeing who that I am, But if I don't see who that I am, then I will never see me. Because eventually you're going to see me. And if not, I can't be concerned with that. Because they're going to have to love you in your way too. And they're going to have to love you in the who that you are. I think we have to change our considerations. When you change your considerations, then there are some things that you don't do anymore. You change your concerns, you change your considerations. You can still love family and not allow family and give family the power in some things that they should be unplugged from. Your family don't always have to be in your business in order for you to survive, in order for your business to stay open. So why we allow our family to get in our business on some things that they should be subtracted from? You still love them, but you're knowing what to present to them. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. But I appreciate you. I thank you for being here in this space. Good morning, Miss McKinley. I appreciate you. But man, y'all be blessed. Today is Friday. I want y'all to have a phenomenal Friday. Let's change that. You know, some people say, "Oh, thank God it's Friday." I mean, that's cool. But I want you to have a phenomenal Friday. Have a phenomenal Friday. Why? Because you can. Because take the option away of you not having a phenomenal Friday and input having a phenomenal Friday. Actively have a phenomenal Friday. Purposefully have a phenomenal Friday. So if you post that on your timeline today, you say phenomenal Friday, and make sure you tag consistency as currency. Stop plagiarizing. Now I'm just playing. But tag phenomenal Friday. Have a phenomenal Friday. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a blessed day. Be the who that you say that you are. If you evolve for the purpose and the reason of your development, and it's going to be yours. So have a phenomenal Friday. Y'all be blessed.